Hey thinkers, welcome to Think Sharp Alley, where every turn leads to a smart solution. Hey learners, in this video we are solving a few selected competency focused practice questions from chapter 2 polynomials. This entire PDF is available in cbseacademics.nic.in. So today we are solving chapter 2 polynomials. And the first question over here is, shown below are the parts of the graphs of two polynomials gx and hx, where you can see gx is the darker one and hx is the lighter one. Now when hx is divided by x minus 3, the remainder is k. Now graphically, if I want to find out the remainder, I just need to find out the y coordinate when x is equal to 3. Remember the remainder theorem, which says when hx is divided by x minus 3, remainder is given by h3. Now what is h3? It is basically the y coordinate. So if I consider 3 somewhere between 2 and 4, let's say this is the middle point. This is just an assumption, obviously not exact. So let's say this is the middle point and I take a perpendicular and I see it intersect the gx, the darker line, at this point. And it will intersect hx at somewhere up. If I increase this one somewhere like this, so I'll say it will intersect somewhere over here. So which means my k, that is the remainder, is somewhere over here. That is wherever this line meets the y-axis, right? And the remainder for gx will be somewhere here. Let's call the remainder k1. When x minus 3 divides gx, let's say the remainder is k1. So let's have a look at the question. Here says which of these is true for the remainder when gx is divided by k minus 3. True for the remainder, that means they are asking which of this is true for k1. So k1 is less than k. Obviously k1 will be less than k, as we can find over here k1 is below k. Moving on to question number 2. Shown below is a part of the graph of a polynomial hx. As you can see, this graph meets the x-axis at only single point, minus 2. Now they are asking on dividing hx by which of the following will the remainder be 0. Now remainder is 0, that means my y coordinate should be 0. Now y is 0 when the graph intersects the x-axis. So it intersects x-axis when x is equal to minus 2. So if x is equal to minus 2, which means minus 2 comes this side, so x plus 2 is basically a factor of hx. And if it's a factor of hx, which means if I divide hx by x plus 2, my remainder will be 0. So x plus 2 is the number. And there is no such other polynomial. Reason being, the graph intersects x-axis at only one point. So the correct option over here is number 1, only 2. Moving on to question number 3. Now here we see a graph. So we have to write a quadratic polynomial whose sum of the zeros is less than that of the polynomial shown in the graph above. If you see this polynomial, it cuts the x-axis at 2 points. One is 1, 2, 3. Another is minus 2. So the zeros of this polynomial, which is shown in the graph, is minus 2 and 3. And the sum of the zeros is minus 2 plus 3, which is equals to 1. So I need a sum which will be less than 1. So let's consider 0. So let's take the new zeros as minus 2 and 2. You can take any value that you like. You can take minus 2 and 1, because till then the sum will be less than 1. So as long as your sum is less than 1, you are good to go. So over here my sum is coming to be 0. So the quadratic polynomial is given by, I hope you remember the rule, it's x square minus whatever is the sum. So let's call it sum as s into x plus the product of the zeros. So over here, if I have to write one polynomial, it is x square. Sum is clearly 0. So minus 0x, I'm skipping that. plus the product. Product is minus 4. So x square minus 4 is a polynomial whose sum of zeros is less than that of the polynomial shown in the graph above. Like this, you can generate your own polynomials. There are infinite number of polynomials you can generate. Moving on to question number 4. Question number 4, they have given us an expression. At how many points does the graph of the above expression intersects the x-axis? Now if we see carefully, the above expression, the expression in the numerator especially, can be factorized. So we can do middle term break over here, and I see we can perform x squared. This can be broken as minus 2 root 2x minus root 2x plus 4. And hey, if you need any help in knowing how did I break it down in this way, let me know in the comments. I shall make an explanation video on this. So now, after grouping and taking common, I'm left with this. Now since x is not equal to root 2, I can cancel x minus root 2 from numerator and denominator, and I'm left with x minus root 2. So basically this big huge expression reduces to a linear form, as you can see. So obviously this will intersect x-axis at x equal to 2 root 2, right? This huge expression, I can call it y is equal to this. Upon solving this, I came to this. So this is, as this is a linear one, so it will intersect x-axis at only one point. And that point, only one point, that is 2 root 2 comma 0. Now moving on to question number 5. Two polynomials are shown in the graph below. Again, one darker one and one is the lighter one. Find the number of zeros that are common to both the polynomials. So I see both the polynomials have 2 zeros because they are intersecting the x-axis at two distinct points, right? So, but I want the common one. So the common zero is only 1. So number of zeros that are common to both the polynomials is only 1. Moving on to the next question, question number 6. P and Q are the zeros of this polynomial. So as we know the zeros of the polynomial is P and Q, immediately I can use the relationship between the zeros and the coefficients of polynomial, which says sum of the zeros is equal to minus coefficient of x, which is minus 5 by coefficient of x squared 2. And the product of the zeros is constant term minus 4 divided by coefficient of x squared 4 by 2, which is equal to minus 2. Without actually finding the values of P and Q, evaluate 1 minus P into 1 minus Q. So we'll simply multiply them first. So 1 minus P minus Q plus PQ. Simple multiplication. And then if I take minus common from the next two terms, I'm getting this, and then I'll substitute the values which I've already found out. So in place of P plus Q, I'll put minus 5 by 2. So that makes us plus 5 by 2. And in place of PQ, I'll put minus 1. Sorry, minus 2. 1 minus 2 is minus 1. And 5 by 2 minus 1 gives me 3 by 2. So we are done with question number 6. Moving on to question number 7. In question number 7, a polynomial is given by qx. You can see the polynomial on your screen, and the sum of the two zeros of qx is 0. If the sum of two zeros is 0, which means the zeros are equal but opposite in sign. So let's take the 0 to be alpha and minus alpha. Clearly their sum is 0, and there will be another 0 because it's a cubic polynomial. It will have at most 3 zeros. So let's take the third 0 to be beta. So using the relationship between the zeros and coefficients, find the zeros of qx. So I have to find out the zeros of qx, which means I have to find out the values of alpha, minus alpha and beta. That means alpha and beta. So here we go. First of all, sum of the zeros. Sum of the zeros is alpha minus alpha plus beta, which is equal to minus of minus 2, that is plus 2 by 1. Coefficient of x cube, you can see the relationship on the screen. So beta is coming as 2. I have found out one zero, that is 2. Next relation is the sum of the products taken 2 at a time. That means alpha into minus alpha, that's minus alpha squared, plus alpha into beta minus alpha beta, plus alpha into beta, that's plus alpha beta, equals to minus 9 by 1, that's minus 9. So minus alpha beta plus alpha beta gets cancelled and alpha square is 9. So that gives me alpha as plus minus 3. So the zeros of Qx are 3, minus 3 and 2. Right? Then we have to find the value of K. How do I find the value of K? We can use a third relation which says that the product of the zeros, that's 3 into minus 3 into 2, will be equals to the constant term divided by coefficient of x cube. So that is k by 1. So that gives me minus k, minus constant term by coefficient of x cube. So that gives me k as 18. So that's it. Now we move on to question number 8. Question number 8 says Px is given ax squared minus 8x plus 3 and a is non-zero real number, which means a cannot be 0. One zero of Px is 3 times the other zero, so let the zeros be alpha and 3 alpha, right? So find the value of a. So we have two relation where the sum of the zeros alpha plus 3 alpha is equal to minus 8, that's 8 by a, and the product of the zero alpha into 3 alpha is equals to constant term 3 by a. So 3 gets cancelled. So here we are having alpha square as 1 by a, whereas from here we are having 4 alpha equals to 8 by a. So 4 ones are 4, 4 twos are 8. So that gives me alpha as 2 by a. Now substituting this value of alpha over here, so 2 by a whole square equals to 1 by a. So that gives me 4 by a square is equal to 1 by a. I can cancel a because a is not equal to 0. So which means a is equal to 4. So I had to find out the value of a. So found out, work completed. What is the shape of the graph of Px? Now this is a quadratic polynomial. A quadratic polynomial is always of the shape of parabola. So that completes our first 8 questions of competency based 1. Let me know in the comments if you need the solution of the next 8 questions, and then I'll make a part 2 of it. So that's how you crack polynomial questions with concept clarity. Hit like and drop a love in the comments if you solved it, and follow for more smart maths moves only on Think Sharp Alley.